Good morning, children. Welcome to our next class. In last class, you learned about different uses of soil and you also learned about the layers of soil, right? So, in today's class, we are going to see what actually the soil contains. Okay, before understanding that, you need to do one experiment that you take a plastic glass or else a glass beaker and a handful of soil or mud add to this glass, and after adding the soil then you pour water into that soil, and what you are going to observe, you see, yes, you can see some air bubbles comes out when you are pouring water into the mud, and you can also hear a sound, that is hissing sound. Some hissing sound will come, and also we can see the bubbles, air bubbles. These bubbles are nothing but some air is present in between the soil particles. Whenever we are pouring water, this water is occupying the place between the soil particles and the air is coming out. Because of that, it's making even hissing sound. Understood, children? So by this activity, we can prove that the soil contains air, right? In the same way, the soil also has some water content. Take some garden soil in a glass beaker like this, the glass beaker how I am showing in the picture. Same way you take one glass beaker and add some garden soil to this beaker and keep the lid tightly. Then keep this bottle outside slantingly, not in a straight way, slantingly. Keep it outside under the sun. After 1 hour, you just go near the bottle and hold it into your hands and observe that you can find some water droplets on edges of the glass. From where does this water came? We did not pour water into that soil, but still you are observing some water droplets because the water content which is present in the soil is evaporated because of the sunlight and also condensed on the sides of glass. That's why you are able to see the droplets of water on glass slides. Right? So this proves that the soil contains water. Soil contains air and soil also contains water. You can also do one more experiment. You take some garden soil in a pan and covered it with a glass lid. Now heat the pan. Then what can you see? Before activity, I told you to keep it outside. This glass beaker, keep it outside, I told. Instead of keeping outside, if you want immediate result, you can even heat that pan. Take some garden soil in a pan and cover with the glass lid so that what's happening inside you can see. Then you heat that pan. What could you see? Yes, absolutely. The water droplets are formed on the glass lid. Okay, that is because of the heat whatever you are supplying. You learnt in before lesson boiling and evaporation differences. Here the water from the soil gets evaporate and touch to the cool plate and condense back and form the water droplets on the lid. So these two activities prove that the soil contains water and also the soil contains air. Understood, children? And then, okay, you understood about the uses of soil, formation of soil, and what soil contains, you understood. Actually, how this soil is formed, from where this soil is coming, that's you're going to understand now. Soil is formed by the breaking of rocks. The big rocks get break down, and from these small stones of these rocks manually, naturally they turn into like soil. This process only known as weathering. Formation of soil by breaking up of rocks known as weathering. Then how does these rocks are getting break down? Because of sun's heat, these rocks becomes very absorb the heat from the sun and they become very hot. And suddenly when they cool, some gaps comes between continuous heating and cooling process makes them to get some cracks in between these rocks. And due to this heating and cooling continuous process, these rocks get break down naturally. And these small rock pieces when they fall on the road are vehicle tires. Due to their pressure and weight, they turn into like soil. And sometimes some seeds fall on these rocks, and those seeds will go into the holes which are present on these rocks. So whenever these seeds germinated, their roots grow deep into these rocks, and when their roots are growing, because of that root pressure, these rocks get break down. So one is by the continuous heating and by continuous cooling, and one is by growing of plants on these rocks. So this is the way how the soil is formed, and we are calling it as weathering. Understood, children, the soil formation? Now we will see what are the questions given in these two worksheets. Okay, now take your volume 3, page 17. From S3, what are the questions given here? We'll see. Ramya poured water into a new mud pot. Take the observations that will tell her that mud has air inside it. You know, in summer season we use mud pots for cooling water. So as soon as if she pour water, what she can find? Hissing sound, smell of mud, color of pot become darker. Yes, all of this occurs, right? Bubbles will be formed. So these all observations can be seen, and she can say that the mud pot has air inside it. And the next question is, just now we discussed in our activity, Mehak took some garden soil in a pan and covered it with a glass lid. She then heated the pan. What would happen and why? Naturally, after heating, the water content or water droplets present in the soil will come and form on the glass lid as water droplets. Okay. And the last one, what does the picture show? How does water in the soil help plants? So you are able to see a baby plant in the picture and how the water in this soil is helping. You know very well, the roots are absorbing the water from the soil and they are using it for preparation of their food and so that they are growing. And now come to next worksheet and see what are the questions given. You can observe the weathering of formation of soil with the different pictures. Stages are there. The first one, which picture will come first, you identify. First one is because of the sun's heat, the rocks are becoming too hot. And then when the rain fall on these rocks, they'll become too cool. By the process of heating and cooling, some breaks appears on them and the soil is formed. So you just identify the pictures, 1 to 4 pictures are given and write the numbers which picture will come first. Okay, that you understand the pictures and write that. Next question, explain how soil is formed. Due to the breakdown of rocks, the soil is formed and called as weathering. And the last question is, the top layer of the soil gets washed away due to heavy rains. Why is it important to save it? You learnt in formation layers of soil, you learnt that the first layer is known as humus. And you also learned that the humus is formed by the dead and decayed parts of plants and animals, and it is so important for the plant growth. If this is run away or washed away by rain, and the plants cannot grow well in that soil. Understood, children? So you can write page 17 and 18 answers by your own, and you textbook practice questions you see and try to find out the answers for those questions also, children. Okay, now once again we will evaluate what you learnt in today's class. We did 2 experiments to prove that the soil contains air and soil